Hi, it's Lindsay Diane from DianeDecor.com. In this video, we're going to talk all about 8 trendy new innovative bed frames. Now, that may not sound super exciting to you because, a bed is a bed is a bed, but I'll tell you, there have been a lot of changes in the past few years when it comes to bed frames. So before you invest in something new and go to your old standards, you should check out some of the new things that are available because they may have some features that you didn't even think that you wanted that are now available and very, very popular. So let's get started with 8 trendy new bed frames. First up is the bed frame with storage drawers. Now, this is not a new concept by any means, but it was never really a very popular pick, and it's probably because of the price point. They used to be quite expensive to get a bed like this, and now it really isn't. Moreover, they're so seamlessly integrated into the bed frame that you would never know that they're even there if you didn't know that your bed had this feature. And up until now, people have still opted for those like under the bed storage bins that have kind of wheels on them and you can roll them out. Some people have the fabric ones that go under, they have no tops on them, but you can, maybe tuck your extra shoes in there or heavyweight quilts. Some of them have like the fabric drawers with this clear zipper top on them and they tuck those under the bed. But really, there are so many beds out there that are coming with this built-in storage, and it's just a really great feature. And so in this video, I'm going to quote you the king size prices. So just assume that anything smaller is going to be even less. So when we're talking about these storage beds, you're going to see these around the $300 price point for most of the beds that I'm seeing on Amazon for king size. And then just work your way backwards from that. Think maybe $50 off for every size down. Now, the storage beds themselves, some of them come where they are rolling out on wheels and some of them are just slide out features. Some of them slide out from the sides only, and they may give you like 4 small drawers that slide out from the sides. And then there are others that will slide out from the foot of the bed, as well as 2 or 1 on each side to give you 3 bigger drawers for you to be able to use. Either way, it's just a very cool feature. And the thing that I like the most about this is that you do not have an under the bed situation where you can drop things and lose items. So you don't have to worry about socks and toys and remote controls falling under your bed anymore because these drawers are there. Your bed frame is basically going all the way down to the floor and you don't have any room there to start losing items, which I think is just an added bonus. So use these beds to store extra blankets, linens, pillows, or if you have some overflow from your closet, you can use this to store seasonal items under your bed. It's a really great additional storage option for your home. So the pros for this type of bed is that it will maximize your storage space, especially if you have a small bedroom. It will keep your items easily accessible without you needing an extra storage trunk or storage ottoman or a dresser or things like that. You can have certain items just right at your fingertips, right underneath your bed. And then also there are just, again, a lot of styles to choose from, and it's easy to find something that's going to match with your style and really elevate your space and not look like you've just got a bed with a bunch of Tupperware underneath it. The cons are that depending upon how much stuff you stack in there, they can get heavy to pull in and out, especially if they're not on wheels. And then also you have to make sure that you have sufficient clearance space on either side of your bed so that you can actually pull those drawers all the way out and access the items in them. So you need to have some sort of aisles on either side of your bed so that you can actually use the pullouts. So if you have things like a larger nightstand or you are flanking your bed with something else, maybe you have a desk on one wall and you really don't have that clearance to pull those drawers all the way out, that could be a problem for you. But if you do, this is a great storage solution, especially for a small bedroom. Next up is the lift up platform bed. Now this is another storage bed option, except instead of having drawers, you are fully lifting the frame that your mattress sits on, and it's lifting up on hydraulics, and you are able to access this whole large compartment under your bed and store items there. Now, the benefit of this type of bed is that you can store larger items under here. So with the drawers that we were just talking about, you are limited to the space that the drawer provides. But if you have a longer item that you want to store under your bed, you're going to be able to do that easier if you have one of the lift-up beds. That being said, I'm sure that this is not intended for you to be putting, everyday items in. There's still going to be some factors to consider when it comes to lifting up the bed. One, mattresses are still heavy. So even though you have that hydraulic assist, you're probably going to need a little bit of strength to lift that whole mattress with your bedding and all of that stuff up just to access those items. Second, there's probably going to be some shifting going on as far as your bedding is concerned. So I'm not sure how much give. Usually they have some sort of rails on either end that try to hold your mattress into place, but your blanket's going to fall. Things like that are going to shift out of place when you start moving this whole bed up and down just to access that storage space. So it's definitely better to store seasonal items or things that you need to access occasionally instead of things that you want to get to every day. Whereas if you had like a pull-out drawer, I could easily see you having like your bedtime socks and maybe your lotion and things that you might store in a nightstand, you could put in a pull-out drawer that's right next to you under your bed. But you wouldn't do that with a lift-up thing where everybody's got to get off the bed, right? For you to be able to lift it up and access those items. The lift-up storage platform bed is great, however, if you are short on storage space. So if you are in like a studio apartment or a small bedroom, this is probably the next best thing to a Murphy bed. With the Murphy beds, you have the floor space to walk around, and then you pull down your bed at night. And this means that you still can't have permanent furniture in the area where you need to pull the bed down, right? It's just that during the day you have some walking space, but it's not as if you're going to be able to put a couch in there now that your bed is mounted to the wall. That's not the case. You still have to bring that bed down and you have to have clearance for that. So to me, as it's a question of, do you need the maneuverability in your room or do you need the storage? So if you're in like a studio apartment and you need a space to really move around, you want to do yoga, you want to lift weights, then the Murphy bed is probably the better option. But if you're in that same condition and you just really need someplace to store like your skis or something other large, maybe you could even probably put a bike disassembled underneath a large bed, underneath a queen size bed. You could use this lift-up storage bed as that option instead. The lift-up storage beds are going to range you between like $400 and $600 on Amazon for most. They're very cool because they provide hidden storage. It's going to keep your items dust-free and out of sight, and the platform bed itself is just a nice, sleek design that will help modernize your space. And then the cons are that it can be a challenge to operate, especially if you need a little bit of strength. So this is not something that I would necessarily install for my grandparents. You need to really be have some upper body strength to be able to pull up and access those items. And they're slightly higher in price than the storage beds with the pull-out drawers. But again, it really depends on what it is that you need to store. And when I say higher in price, we're talking about a matter of about $100. Suitcases and luggage can also be stored in a lift-up bed easily. And you might not be able to do that with a bed with the drawers. So consider that. If that's something that's taking up a lot of space in your closet and you really don't have the room for it, consider getting a lift-up bed because you can store those bigger items under there. Next up is the Storage Headboard with charging station. Now again, this is an old idea made new. Back in the day, we called this a bookcase headboard. This, in fact, was my very first style of headboard. I found it at a secondhand shop. I had it for my very first apartment, and it was just so cool to have like little cubbies to store things. And I didn't necessarily need a nightstand because I had this headboard that had the storage in it. And like I said, this has been around for a long time. I remember my parents had one of these growing up as well, but now they're calling it a storage headboard, and they have the plugs so you can charge your phone and other devices built right in. So you don't have to worry about running cords around and getting them from behind, your nightstand to plug in your phone and things like that. They're all sort of built into the headboard. And then moreover, almost all of them nowadays have built-in lighting as well. So whether they're like little sconces that are on the side or they're all backlit with LED lights, they all have some type of nice lighting that you can change. You can adjust the colors, you can dim it, and it's really fun. So if you are in a space where you just want to have things easy to access and you like the idea of being able to reach up behind you instead of going over to the side and fiddling in drawers, or maybe you just want the extra space and you don't want your nightstands, go for one of these storage headboards instead. Next up is the floating bed frame with LED lights. Now, if you are looking for a beautiful show-stopping piece for your bedroom, the floating bed frame with LED lights is probably the most popular way to go. It's going to give you a very modern, very futuristic look. Of course, it makes it look as though your bed is floating, and then to accent that feature even more, the bottom of your bed is sort of rimmed with LED lights. So you can change the color and it's going to glow from underneath your bed. And that is just a really cool feature. A lot of them also come with the lighted storage headboard. So you kind of have a 1-2 punch there, where you have lights coming from your storage headboard, but you also have lights coming from your bed floating below. It's just cool to look at. I don't know that it's for me, but I can definitely see it being for somebody who likes a really modern, cutting edge, sleek look, or maybe somebody that's probably a little bit younger than me, maybe really into this. Now, these beds are surprisingly inexpensive. I don't know if it's because there really aren't that many bells and whistles to them or what's going on, but for the most part, you can find them under $150 for a king size. Now, if you're worried about support on these, don't. They are basically the same type of metal bed frame that you have with most of these designs. It's just that the outer posts, instead of being right on the end, are just set in about a foot or so, just enough so that you can't see them, and it gives you the illusion that this thing is sort of like floating on a pedestal, but it isn't. It has a lot of footings underneath it that support it well, so you don't have to worry about it being unstable or anything like that. Several of them also have charging ports built into the metal frame, which is a really cool option. Again, if you're going for that minimalist, sleek look, you probably don't want a lot of excessive furniture. You probably don't want to have the big storage headboard, although some of them do come with them. You probably don't want to have, nightstands on the sides, although you could. But if you really want that sleek, minimalist look, go for one that has the charging stations built in so that you don't have to have any additional furniture and you just have this really cool bed just kind of floating out there. I think it's a cool look. The only cons here are that you're lacking the storage space. But like I said, there are some that are just combining that floating frame with the storage headboard so that you have the best of both worlds. Also consider that the way that you make up your bed and the bedding that you choose, because this is really ideal for if you've got your comforter or your duvet tucked in and tucked around the mattress, right? You're not going to have a lot overflowing over the edges because, again, you won't be able to see the fact that the bed frame appears to be floating. It's going to spoil that whole illusion. That's the whole point of it. It's to make this show-stopping feature in your bedroom. And if you allow your bedding to be like just hanging over the sides and waterfalling onto the floor, it's not going to, give it that look. So think about the style of bedding that you like before you choose this, and think about whether or not you're going to be able to maintain this look by keeping the area around the bed clear at all times. The next is the bed frame with the bench. Now, a bench at the end of a bed is not a new concept by any means, but one that's attached to the bed is. Now, you can have one that's attached and opens up like a little chest, or even better, you can have one that's attached that folds up and folds down. So when it folds down, it's maybe upholstered just like your headboard and looks like a regular headboard and footboard. But if you needed to go ahead and have a space to sit down, or maybe you want to watch the news, or you just want to put your shoes on or your heels on and you want to have some place to sit, you can pop up that bench and have some place to sit. I think it's just a very, very cool feature. I wish my bed had this. I don't have a bench at the end of my bed, and I really wish I did, but I really just don't have the walking space for it. But if I had something like this, I'd have the best of both worlds. I could use it when I need it and then take it down when I'm not using it and have the opened up walkway. I think it's just really neat. This style of bed frame is really more about adding some functionality to your bedroom. It's adding a seating area. Now, some of them, again, the ones that don't flip up and they instead are permanently attached and they open up, they're adding storage space and a seating area at the same time. But again, it really depends on how big your room is and whether or not you can swing having that additional, whatever it is, maybe it's an additional 4 or 6 inches projected off against the end of your bed and still have enough walking space. If you don't, then go for one that flips up and flips down. I think that they're very, very cool, and it's an easy way to add some extra seating and a little bit of versatility to your bedroom. Prices for these are also very, very good. You're looking at between like $200 and $300 for a king size bed with the flip out bench on the end. Next up is the bed frame with the nightstands attached. Now, this is a really cool and innovative bedding solution. I have seen these pop up in a lot of different varieties. So I think there's sort of something for everyone if you want to have an all-in-one kind of solution. So you can see these where the nightstands actually slide in and out from a storage headboard so that you can have them out. They have little like book ledges in them, so you can put some books in there, or you can put a light on there, a lamp there, and then you can also slide them right back in again and give yourself, again, the extra clearance on the side of your bed. I've also seen some where they are a really long sort of extended upholstered headboard, and then you have some like floating nightstands on either side. And then you have little sconces that are coming down from the headboard that are already built in for you. So you have your lighting, you have your little floating nightstands. This is perfect for a bedroom that is on the smaller side. So if you want that extra clearance at your feet, but you still want to have your nightstands, you still need your lamps, this is a really great solution because you're wall mounting those lights and you're having some floating nightstands that still give you foot clearance. It's perfect for a small bedroom. I've even seen some that have lighted mirrors attached to them as well that are on either side with the nightstands, which is just really cool and innovative. I just would hope that nothing ever happens to any of those mirrors because I can't imagine trying to replace something like that and getting like a custom glass cut and all that stuff. That might be a pain. But as far as aesthetics go, it's a very cool look. Now expect to spend a little bit more on these because they do include some additional features, usually not only the nightstands but also the lights. So you're looking at more of a $400 range for these in a king size. The pros for this are it gives you a seamless integration of your bed and your nightstands, and it gives you a really cohesive look. And then of course it saves on your floor space. The only cons are you are not going to have any real flexibility when it comes to rearranging your furniture. and it also may not fit in a room that doesn't have a long enough wall. So if you have a smaller bedroom and that's already part of the problem, you need to make sure that the wall that you want to orient your bed on is long enough to accommodate this extended headboard situation, because it may not extend as far out as some of the traditional nightstands, but it's certainly going to extend farther out than just a regular headboard. So definitely measure before you buy and you'll be all set. All right, number 7 on the list is the kids' loft bed. I do not know any kid that does not want a loft bed right now. This is it's such a big deal. It's such a big deal if you know kids. Like, the loft bed is it. I mean, we had bunk beds and that was it. They were just a twin on top of a twin. There was nothing special about them when we were growing up. The bunk beds then started to evolve, so then you could see a full on the bottom and a twin on the top. Sometimes you even have a full on top of a full, which is really cool. But the loft bed is something else. When I tell you that there are so many different styles of loft beds, you would not believe it. I'm going to show you a few that are available on Amazon. So by far the most popular is the bed on top, and then you have a built-in desk and shelving situation below it. Sometimes they come with extra drawers that pull out, and sometimes they come with little cubbies. They have some that are full on treehouse style for littler kids. So they don't raise up as high, but you still have the bed above, and then you have this little cubby, little play area underneath. It's like a little hidden zone for them. It's so cute. There's also, I've seen beds that are the beds up top and you have your ladder as normal. You have the desk, and then at the foot of the bed you have a series of drawers. So if you don't have a dresser, you can get something like this that's already built in and you've got your drawers there. Now, speaking of clothes, I saw one I'm going to show you right now on the screen. It is a loft bed that does not have the desk underneath. Instead, it has a series of pull-out compartments that each have a clothing rod on them. So it's almost like having 4 mini closets built into your bed. I've never seen anything like this before. It's very cool. Although this is certainly intended for children, I'm not sure that I would ever personally buy it for my kids, because I can see them playing around and sliding in and out these big compartments, and it's just like an accident waiting to happen with little fingers getting pinched in there. But if you have an older kid and you really don't have closet space and you really don't have drawers and they really like this option and they don't need a desk, then maybe that might be an option that works for them. It's very innovative at the very least. It's cool to see these new designs coming out. Again, here's another one that has the desk. It has like a bookshelf. It also has a closet area underneath it and some bifold doors. This is very much so an all-in-one solution. Like, if you only need one piece of furniture, let's say you just have a bare bones room that has no closet at all, and this is a kid's room, here you go. You've got a bookshelf, you've got a desk, you've got a bed, and you've got a closet all built into one. Again, expect to pay a little bit more for that. The more features that you have, the more expensive you can expect it to be. But for the most part, all of these are fairly reasonable considering all that they're giving you. So for a basic loft bed, so this is something that's got the desk or a little play area underneath and a bed up top, a twin bed up top, you're looking at anywhere between $250 and $300 or so. When you start getting into the fancier options, like the one with all of the pull-out compartments with the clothes hangers on them, the little multi-closet situation, that one's more expensive. You're looking at more around the $500 price range. And then that super crazy all-in-one option, this really is quite expensive. And you're looking at pretty much around $800. But again, consider that you're getting a desk, you're getting a bookcase, you're getting a closet with bifold drawers, and you're getting a bed. So consider that when you're looking at the price here. But again, you can get a basic loft bed certainly well under $500. And it just kind of goes up from there. Last but not least is the Montessori floor bed. Now this is another option for kids. This is that transitional option for when they are too big for a crib. So they're pulling up on the rails and you don't want them climbing out of the crib and they're constantly trying to get out of the crib. You don't want them to get hurt, right? So that's when you go ahead and you lower that crib all the way down and you kind of put on your convertible rails if you have a convertible crib, and you are in the toddler bed phase. So this is something that's very low to the ground and has rails on it. Well, now people are skipping that altogether and they're saying, you know what, I'm just gonna throw a mattress on the floor. And that's kind of where the Montessori floor bed began. Of course, it has evolved to a much more elegant solution, but lots of folks were just throwing mattresses on the floor, and it just it makes sense, right? There's nowhere to fall, but it's also not like the cutest thing just having a mattress on the floor. So there are these Montessori floor beds that have become popular in the last maybe 4 years or so. They're essentially a combination of a railed-in crib that's on the floor and a storage headboard. So there's lots of places to put a little night light, to put some books, some stuffed animals, and create a really cute little zone just for your kid. So if you know somebody that has just had a baby and they're buying furniture, let them know that the Montessori floor bed is a thing now. And so when they start to transition into that toddlerhood, this may be a great option for them. That's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. I will leave links to all of the beds featured in this video down below. I'll also leave a link to my blog post that goes along with this video in case you want to sift through there and look for some more examples of beds to choose from. I thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.